January 7. 9:48 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Und damit, bam, Leute. Und herzlich willkommen zurück zu Phoenix Wright as Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. In der Episode Recipe for Turnabout. Letztes Mal, das ist eine gute Frage, was letztes Mal passiert ist, denn ist schon wieder eine Weile her. Gerade dazu, falls in letzter Zeit und in nächster Zeit ein bisschen weniger kommt, liegt aber daran, dass ich gerade halt unnormal am Elden Ring suchten bin. Also, who can blame me for that? Deswegen, meine Prioritäten liegen ein bisschen anders, ne? Aber zwischendurch mal ein bisschen Phoenix Wright, geht schon. Letztes Mal, wir haben Maggie wieder getroffen, ne? Die ist mal wieder angeklagt worden. Ne? Glück ist bei ihr groß geschrieben. Denn sie wurde von einem falschen Ich verteidigt. In einem Mordfall von einem Phony. Ich weiß immer noch nicht, was das deutsche Wort dafür ist. Betrüger, keine Ahnung. Double, was auch immer. Genau, und jetzt wollen wir einen Retrial machen, um sie mal richtig zu verteidigen. Und wir haben unser Phony, unser angebliches Double hier auch getroffen. Das böse Double, den Xin-Iob, wie man ihn nennt. Und der war direktes Ebenbild von mir. Natürlich. Mal gucken. Wir haben noch ein französisches Restaurant erkundet, da wo der Mord stattfand, und ein paar Leute getroffen, alter Sack, ein Koch und wer sonst noch alles. Und wir hatten ein bisschen Fanservice von mir. Ja, geile Folge. Let's go.
Oh, I guess I should have expected this. Nobody saw the other guy, huh? But he was there when I took the coffee over, sir. Scout's honor.
Maggie! Oh.
Detective Kamshu.
Are you doing alright? How are you feeling?
As if you need to ask either question, sir.
Don't let him get you down, Maggie. And don't forget, eat well, okay?
Roger.
And you?
Yes?
You better square this case away, got it, pal? Maggie's innocent, you hear? If you screw up, then I'll be doing some squaring away myself. Squaring away some paperwork for your arrest.
I think he's serious.
Hey, detective, you're on our side for once, right?
Yep.
So you'll be able to help Maggie out, right? Really? Can you, sir?
Of course. I've got the situation under control. You're gonna be the first witness on the stand today. If something I say doesn't mesh with the facts, make sure you point it out, alright?
Sure.
Okay, we're forming a united front today, pal. You get me?
Ja, pal. Geht bestimmt nichts schief.
I can tell how grateful I am, sir. I've always admired you so much, detective. I know I can count on you.
Oh God, don't jinx it.
Looks like it should all go pretty smoothly today, huh?
I can only wish.
Punkt 10. Erstmal ein Knoppers. Court is now until... Oh, sorry, that's my knoppers. For the trial of Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Ach, er hier wieder.
Erstmal Kaffee. Bitter. Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ah!
What's wrong?
Nothing. It's just whenever I addressed you in the previous trial, your response was... You was talking to me? It was a little, well, intimidating.
No, that wasn't me. That was the phony Phoenix.
I see. So our trusty Phoenix Wright is back with us now, is he?
Our trusty?
So, Mr. Godot, your opening statement, please. Mr. Wright, whether you're a fake or the real deal. We'll find out soon enough through this trial today.
But I can already tell you, I'm the real Phoenix Wright.
I wasn't questioning whether you are Phoenix Wright or not. I was questioning whether you had studied the law or not. That's what I intend to find out. There's no denying it. Behind that mask is the man who really hates me for some reason or another.
As everyone is aware, the court has already given its verdict on this case once. Therefore, I won't stand for irrelevant testimony during this retrial. I will stand for a simple repetition of the evidence presented in the last trial. I'm not planning on repeating anything that phony me said. Trust me. Now then, Mr. Godot, please summon your first witness.
Let's start with the formalities, shall we? Name and occupation.
Witness, state your name for the court.
Sorry, sir.
The name's Police Department Detective. Occupation Dick Gumshoe.
Other way around, detective.
Sorry. Anyway, I'm the officer in charge of this case since yesterday, sir.
Since yesterday?
Yeah, the guy who was on the initial investigations tied up with another case now. I hope Gumshoe really got everything under control for everyone's sake. I see. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you outline for the court the basic facts of the case?
Yes, sir.
The victim's name was Glenn Elk. He was a professional programmer. He was on the payroll of Blue Screens Incorporated, a local company. This is the victim's autopsy report.
According to thank you. Glenn's autopsy report. Died of potassium cyanide poisoning. Okay. Time of death was between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. Was auch immer das für Poison ist.
And here are the floor plans of the restaurant. When the incident took place, the victim was sitting right here. The poisoned coffee was brought over to him by the by the waitress. The waitress being the accused. Yeah. The victim died from poisoning almost immediately after he took a sip of the coffee. At the time of the incident, there were 2 other people in the restaurant. Mr. Jean Armstrong, the owner and chef, and a regular by the name of Mr. Victor Kudo.
Indeed.
It still seems to be a very straightforward case to me.
Très bien, floor plans. Blueprints of the crime scene. X equals victim's seat. Das ist ja ein schwieriges Mathematikproblem. Was ist X?
Come, detective, take up this hammer. And nail the defendant's coffin shut with your own 2 hands.
Now then, Detective Gumshoe, let's have your testimony.
Yes, sir.
Ist wieder ganz schwierige Kombi. Godot, der Judge und Gumshoe. Die 3 Stimmen zusammen. Ist echt, naja.
When the incident took place, the victim was alone at his table, sir. You understand that the guy, Glenn Elk, was listening to the radio at the time. Traces of poison were found in his coffee cup. And what we found was potassium cyanide. That stuff really packs a punch. And, it looks like Miss Bird might have had, well, some kind of motive.
Using the dark, aromatic depths of coffee to conceal the poison. Classy lady.
Facts of this case seem to be ironclad. Mr. Wright, I would ask you to begin your cross-examination, but...
Yes?
Please, no intimidation tricks this time around. Is that understood?
I already told you that wasn't me. The incident. Okay, the victim was alone at his table, sir. Ja, nee. Can I stop you for just a minute?
What is it? Did I say something that contradicts the evidence?
He's so desperate for that to be true. He's practically crying. Your testimony just now doesn't match the testimony given by Miss Bird. She claims that there was another man at the victim's table.
Yeah, that's what she said. And I... What killer wouldn't say that when faced with a homicide conviction?
Hey!
Sadly, her testimony isn't supported by the owner or the other customer. Isn't that right, Detective Gumshoe? Yeah, it's true. There are two testimonies tie up on that. They both said there was no other guy at the table.
Wie immer, top commentary vom Judge. What should I do? Should I press on this point a little harder or not?
Press harder!
Immer pressen. Rück raus die Wurst. Well, maybe the other witnesses just missed him. Perhaps the view of the victim's table was obscured in some way.
That argument is as weak as the coffee at Trivia tried. I have here in my possession a ticket.
A ticket? Looks more like a photo to me.
Yes, a one-way ticket to Guiltyville. Population the defendant. It's a photograph taken from near the entrance to the kitchen. It's the scene as witnessed by the chef moments after the poisoning took place. Correct?
Oh, das war Judge. Ja, der Judge hat ein bisschen Stimmbruch bekommen.
I think the court will agree that, with such a clear view of the scene of the crime... How, Mr. Wright, could anyone have overlooked the second person at the table? It certainly seems to show the victim's table extremely clearly.
Crime photo. Photo of the scene taken from near the kitchen. I understand that the guy, Glenn Elk, was listening to the radio at the time. Okay. Die pressen einmal durch. He was listening to his radio, you say?
Yeah, he had a portable radio in his chest pocket.
Maggie told us that too, didn't she? Something about how one of them had some sort of earpiece.
What should I do? Should I press on this point? Kann ich jetzt überall pressen? Ja. Nee! Alter, ich hab nach unten gedrückt! Schiebung! Nee, ich lese das gar nicht vor. Das habe ich nicht gedrückt. Ey, ich hab... Sag mal, geht mein Controller nicht? So. Pressen. So. Press harder. What was it that the victim was listening to on the radio, Detective Gumshoe?
How should I know?
Thanks a lot. We're now one step closer to the middle of nowhere.
This isn't going very well, is it? Detective, could you perhaps tell us about the poison and how it was used?
Okay. So, traces of poison were found in a coffee cup and nowhere else?
Not sure I get you, pal.
Was the poison a liquid or was it a powder?
If I had to put it in layman's terms, I'd say it was a powdery substance.
So the poison could have been in anything that was on the table. Sugar, salt, pepper.
Huh. Do you put salt and pepper in your coffee, Wright? The victim took his coffee black with no sugar.
It seems that the poison could have only been in the coffee.
What should I do? Should I press on this point a little harder or not? Yeah, go for it. Are you absolutely certain that the victim even drank any of his coffee?
What do you mean?
According to this file, the poison was found in the victim's coffee cup. But what proof is there that the victim ever drank any of it?
Oh, hey, you're right. That's what I... In case you were wondering, that last objection was for the detective there. For me? Oh, hey, you're right. You may be fooling the court, but I'm not falling for it. If you have the time to waste, you have the time to present that piece of evidence. That piece, sir? Yes, that piece. What piece was it again? This.
Hey, should I be grateful this coffee's only hot enough to give me first-degree burns?
Now I remember. This is the victim's coffee cup. Yes, the victim's cup. Take a good look at the rim. Oh, yes, it's unmistakable. There's clearly a coffee stain on it. Conclusive proof that the victim did drink the poisoned coffee that was in his cup. The victim gulped down the bitter death that the waitress brought to him, like this.
Oh! Okay, calm down.
For the record, the only prints on the cup were victims and the defendants.
Coffee cup. Coffee contained potassium cyanide, covered in the victim and Maggie's fingerprints. Okay.
Upon further investigation of this cup, we found a certain chemical substance.
Potassium cyanide, yeah. Potassium cyanide. I've heard of that chemical before. Exactly how strong is this poison, Detective Gumshoe?
Well, that stuff's lethal.
Oh, wie wir gesehen haben.
Eat too much and your history.
How much is too much?
A lethal dose is 0.2 grams. That's about enough to finish anyone off.
0.2 grams? How much is that?
You know when you swap your ears for earwax? Yeah, about that much.
Okay, earwax, huh? Not like something Gumshoe's got an abundance of.
Such a small quantity of poison could have been concealed anywhere.
Some kind of motive. Some kind of motive?
Yeah, but if you ask me, it's been blown way out of proportion. You know what my golden rule is, Detective? Chunk out a bad cup of coffee, you can always get another. Huh? I don't get it. I'm saying, we can always get another, another witness on the stand, if we have to chunk you out. So, stick to the facts, Detective. Now then, what was Miss Bird's motive?
Come on, Gumshoe.
She was... They said she wanted to steal a lottery ticket.
I knew it. That's what we heard yesterday, too.
It disappeared from the scene of the crime.
And it wasn't just any lottery ticket.
It was a winning ticket for $500,000.
Mr. Armstrong knew about the ticket too, didn't he? But he stole the wrong one.
Then is it possible Maggie stole the winning one? What should I do? Should I press on this point a little harder or not? Yeah? I don't know. Wait a minute. The mere fact that the lottery ticket disappeared in no way implicates my client.
I have here in my hand the very ticket in question.
That's the $500,000 lottery ticket.
One of the female police officers found it when she was conducting a search of the defendant.
What?
Yeah. Order. He's quite a lucky bird, our little waitress.
You will submit that ticket as evidence to the court immediately.
I better keep an eye on that ticket. The way the judge's voice is quivering. Winning ticket for $500,000 found during a body search of Maggie. Ja, aber sie war ja auch unconscious. Also liegt nahe, dass es einfach geplantet wurde. Wird zwar ein Waste, ne? Einfach 500.000 einfach wegstecken irgendwo. Aber na gut. Na gut.
This ticket was presented to the court in the previous trial too. Feels heavier now somehow. $500,000, you say?
It's just a scrap of paper. What matters is where it was found, Your Honor.
And that's on Maggie's person, unfortunately. That's enough. The facts of this case seem overwhelmingly clear to me. The defendant had ample opportunity to commit the crime of which he is charged. Furthermore, it seems beyond reasonable doubt that she did indeed commit this crime.
I like an old man who knows the score.
There's also the matter of the $500,000 lottery ticket. That alone provides a very credible motive. I mean, for that sum of money, even I might be tempted to bend the rules.
And I'm an old man who is weak to the siren call of money.
Now good, Nick. The evidence against Maggie is starting to pile up fast.
Yeah, that's because the court has ruled guilty once already.
I'd say it's about time to wrap up this repeat performance with one final decisive piece of evidence.
He's got more evidence against Maggie?
This is the apron the delightful Miss Bird was wearing at the time.
Wow, that's not the cleanest apron I've seen.
That stain looks like... It can't be blood, can it?
Seems the star of our play was a little flustered. Somehow spilled coffee on herself.
The coffee? That's not exactly the first thing that caught my eye.
Of course, the coffee stain isn't the most interesting thing about this apron. No, there's something else that stands out even more.
Something else? I presume you mean...
Of course, I'm referring to the pocket.
Oh, okay. The pocket?
A search carried out right after the incident uncovered this. Potassium cyanide, the very poison used by the killer, was in her apron pocket.
Bottle of poison in Maggie's pocket?
Yeah, and Maggie's prints were the only ones on it.
What? Sarino kann auch geplantet sein. Ist nicht so schwierig.
Order! The court will accept these items into evidence.
Apron, worn by Maggie at the time of the incident. Has a small pocket, but big stains. Big stains, big gains. Potassium cyanide, a deadly powdery poison, bears Maggie's fingerprints found in her apron pocket.
There's something still bothering me, Mr. Godot. Why have you not explained the bloodstain to the court?
Bloodstain? What bloodstain would that be?
Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood-colored stain that's smeared all over the apron.
That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a bloodstain.
You don't need to be told. Just look at it.
Well, detective, could a stain really be blood?
No way, sir.
It's just ketchup, sir.
Ketchup?
She must have gotten some on her apron while taking someone their breakfast that day.
You could have spoken up a little sooner, Detective Gumshoe.
Pull a stunt like that again and I'll have you drink 17 cups of ketchup, witness.
I thought everyone knew what it was already. I haven't seen anything yet to make me doubt the last ruling I made on this case. The motive, the opportunity, and the supporting evidence. They have all been clearly established.
Well, Wright, seems you really are a phony after all.
You really know how to drive a man's nuts. Okay.
Witness, please continue your testimony. Describe for the court the crime scene and the findings of the investigations here. The investigation.
The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. Poor Maggie had passed out from the shock. It must have been really tough for her. The victim didn't have any identification on him, but we figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. When Maggie was searched, we found the lottery ticket and the bottle of poison, and that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. You identified the victim and secured your prime suspect. Very good. Last chance to convince the court you're a real lawyer, Wright. Don't count on any more cross-examinations after this one, so let the fun begin.
Scary Old Man. Können wir ihn vielleicht befragen? Scary Old Man, Detective Gumshoe?
There's an old man who's a regular at the restaurant where the incident happened.
Ah, we're obviously talking about the same old man.
Officers were dispatched right after the report came in, but the old guy still made a fuss. What took you so long? Then he hurled abuse at them, and seeds.
Seeds.
Huh. It was nothing. I caught each one with my teeth.
I guess not even the mighty Godot can avoid being attacked by that guy.
The old man was the only other customer in that place at the time. He took his time finding a pay phone, apparently, so he was late reporting the crime.
Okay. Well, I guess passed out from shock. Must have been real tough for her. Ist sie nicht eine Polizeifrau? Polizistin? Bisschen schwach für eine Polizistin bei einem Body direkt ausgenockt zu werden. Naja. How long was the defendant unconscious for?
The officers got the crime scene around 2:40. Meg was still out cold in the kitchen at that time. It took another 10 minutes or so before she came to. I would have liked to have been on the scene myself.
I bet you would have liked to have carried out the search too.
I would have loved to see Maggie asleep like that, all pretty and peaceful.
You're a professional detective, Gumshoe, not a professional bird watcher.
Save the romantics for your own time, detective. All we need to know about is the investigation. Oops, I guess I'm pretty red right now, aren't I?
No. Didn't have any identification on him. He didn't have any? Are you saying that it was stolen then?
No, I don't think so. The victim didn't have a driver's license or even a credit card on him, pal. All he had was 58 cents in his wallet.
58 cents?
Yeah, I can't believe I found someone with less in their wallet than me, pal. The victim sounds like he was a thoroughly miserable young man. Or some kind of outlaw. Why not give him a bit of an edge?
I think I'm onto something here. Are you? But we figured out who he was pretty quick and then went smoothly. Wait a sec.
Did I say something dumb again?
Let me paraphrase what you just testified to this court. The victim didn't have any form of ID on him. That's basically what you said, yes?
Yeah, basically.
In that case, how were you able to identify the victim so quickly?
Oh, there.
He's so let down. He's got the whole sagging shoulders and puppy eyes thing going.
There was a prescription bag on the victim's table, along with the lottery ticket.
Seems Mr. Glanach visited his doctor before he went to Trebia.
We got the victim's name from the medical records of the doc who prescribed the meds.
That's a reliable enough source for the court. What should I do? Should I leave this alone or ask to hear more? Ask prescription bag. Ask about his health insurance. Bisschen random. Machen wir die Tüte. What sort of medicine was in the bag?
Well, actually, the bag we found was empty.
Huh?
Yeah, completely empty.
It was completely empty. Victim's prescription bag. The victim got this from the doctor before going to Trebien. The bag is empty.
You're entering an empty paper bag as evidence. Desperate are you, Wright? Now, what happened with the investigation after that, Detective?
Kann ich vielleicht das andere noch kurz? Man, warum nicht, ne? Ja, bla bla bla. Jo. Yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Achso, darf ich nicht. Okay, dann haben wir wohl schon das Maximum rausgeholt. Found a lottery ticket and a bottle of poison. But the defendant had been passed out for a while, correct? In that case, isn't it possible someone planted the evidence in Maggie's pocket?
Hey, yeah, you've nailed it, pal. It happens to be all the time.
Ah ja?
We had a department party the other day, and when I got home, I was wearing the boss's shoes.
You have this crazy testimony, Detective, and those shoes will end up down your throat.
Sorry.
So, try it. Someone planted the evidence in Maggie's pocket. That's a pretty bold statement. Care to back it up with some evidence? Well, I'd love to if I had any. It appears you have no evidence to support your theory, Mr. Wright. Continue with your testimony, witness. And that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. Das klingt ja fishy. So, the $500,000 lottery ticket and the bottle of poison were accounted for.
Yeah.
Interesting. If that's true, that those two items are accounted for. But wasn't there another lottery ticket that was stolen that day?
Oh, yeah. The one the restaurant owner took. He won a whole dollar with it. What a lucky guy, huh?
And they're just going to let him get away with it.
It was just $1, Detective.
I guess no one cares when it's that little, except for Gumshoe. If I don't find a hole in this testimony, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. Gumshoe isn't giving us anything to work with. And we can't find any contradictions if he doesn't give us something. Yeah, that's true. But Maggie and Gumshoe are like Dumb and Dumber. Our only hope is that they were so dumb, they missed something obvious. Come on, Gumshoe. Be the dumbest you've ever been. Okay, ich hab noch nicht so wirklich eine Ahnung. Hallo? Was ist los? Okay. Mein Controller hat gedacht, bewegt sich mal automatisch. Also. Vielleicht irgendwas, was fehlt. Nicht wirklich, ne? Check. Ah, das sind die Floor Plans. Ja. Wo war das Crime Photo? Da. Gibt's hier vielleicht irgendwas? Ich sehe gerade nichts, oder? Wobei, warte mal. Moment, kann ich... Profiles? Okay. Ich dachte gerade, er hat sein komisches Sci-Fi-Dings hier. Sein Augmented Reality Ding da. Hat er nicht an, aber er hat es auf seinem linken Auge. Und hier im Foto
Sein linkes Auge ist auf dem Tisch. Das heißt, wir können es so oder so nicht sehen. Also, ist sein linkes Auge, ist seine linke Seite. Glaube ich, oder? Ja, sieht zumindest so aus, ne? Okay, also ich glaube, hier ist nix. Was haben wir sonst noch so? Apron Pocket. Oh! Ja, klar. Die Medizin. Die haben sie nicht gefunden. Das können wir, glaube ich, drücken, oder? There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. Ja, Bullshit. Er wird ja wohl kaum direkt vom Doktor mit einer leeren Tasche zurückkommen. Yes. Detective Gumshoe, I think I should point something out to you. There's just one small contradiction in your testimony.
Oh, finally! I'm getting all anxious just waiting, so hurry up, will you?
You testified that nothing else was missing from the crime scene. However, the prescription bag you mentioned was empty. Did the officers recover the medicine from the scene of the crime later?
No, they didn't.
The victim was given a prescription right before going to Trebian. Where then did the medicine disappear to?
You are too cool, pal. Indeed. Where did that music come from? Due consideration wasn't given to the victim's prescription in the previous trial. Witness, why do you always overlook such vital piece of evidence? I guess that's the most careless thing I've done so far, huh?
The victim was killed by poison, and the victim's medicine mysteriously disappeared. The victim's own prescription could have been... the victim's own prescription could have been the lethal poison itself. True. Ich weiß immer noch nicht, was Potassium Cyanide ist, aber okay. Vielleicht ist es auch Medizin.
Order, order! Well, Mr. Godot, what do you have to say to that?
That's all.
What?
Read for the court the name of the clinic on the prescription bag, if you will.
What's the clinic's name got to do with anything? New Ear Autoclinic? Autoclinic?
Just what kind of illness was the victim suffering from, Mr. Godot? Hardly an illness, Your Honor. More like a bit of war wound, you could say.
A war wound?
A day before the incident, Mr. Elk found himself in a fight. He took a blow to the side of the head and ruptured his eardrum.
He ruptured his eardrum?
Then what on earth was the prescription he was given?
It was a cream that was to be applied topically inside his ear canal, not to be ingested.
What?
It's mentioned in the autopsy report, if I read the fine print. We found traces of the medication in the victim's left ear.
Yes, here it is, in very, very fine print.
It seems Mr. Elk correctly applied some of his medication while he was at Trebia. Therefore, it would be absurd to believe that he would have eaten his medication.
It seems that this medication is irrelevant to the case after all.
No.
Nick, if you don't think of something quick, it'll be all over.
She's right. But I can't get away with any old weak objection. What should I do? Push the medication issue. Leave it. I don't know. Ich will einfach mal sagen, wir pushen. Aber ich lasse Phoenix das mal machen. Ne? Go get him. Only moments ago, Mr. Godot made the following statement. It seems Mr. Elk correctly applied some of his medication while he was at Tribune. If that's the case, then why was the medication not found at the scene of the crime?
But the medication in question was for topical use inside the ear canal.
That doesn't change the fact that it could not be found at the crime scene. However insignificant it may seem, it's a lawyer's duty to pursue the truth.
You know as well as I do that the medication is irrelevant. It hardly seems likely that a prescription drug would contain potassium cyanide.
It hardly seems likely that the coffee the waitress served would contain it either. But it did. The possibility is undeniable.
That's enough. Mr. Godot, is the detective the only witness to the prosecution wishes to call? Mr. Godot. I've got my own witness I'd like to call, sir. It's the old man who was there in the restaurant on the day of the murder. Victor Kudo, the pigeon hater. Very well. The matter of the disappearing medication seems a little more than trivial at best. However, it wasn't explored at all in the previous trial. And that is something that bothers me. Yay, good job, Nick. Yay. The court will adjourn for a 10-minute recess. After which we will hear the prosecution's next witness. Huh. I suppose this means I'll just have to finish you off in my last 6 cups. Court is adjourned for recess. Und zurück in der Defendant Lobby. Phew, that was close. Tell me about it.
I nearly died in there.
That's my line, sir. No, it was my line. I think I really did die in a little bit. Looks like we all nearly died in there. I can't believe Detective Kamishu. How could he betray us like that? Huh? He said he'd help me. But he totally set me up.
I don't think he meant to do that, Maggie. He was backed into a corner. I mean, the guy's got to do his job, right?
It's okay. I know all about lies and betrayal. I've had it my whole life. But it really hurt this time. I felt like someone punched me hard in the stomach. I hate that guy. I never want to see him again.
Poor Kamshu.
So, the next witness is going to be that old guy from the park, right?
Yeah, Mr. Kudo. Lover of waitress outfits and projectile seats.
I bet he's gonna be really stubborn. I mean, he's pretty set in his ways, you know? Yeah, he's a big old grouch. Are you going to be able to handle him, Nick?
Yeah, I can take whatever he throws at me, even those never-ending bird seats. Okay. Ah, wir kriegen keine Pause. Wir haben jetzt wieder ein längerer Part.
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Maggie Bird. Mr. Godot, your next witness, please. Prosecution calls the lucky old-timer who caught the show over a cup of coffee. Will the witness please take the stand? Name and occupation, if you don't mind.
The name's Victor Kudo, born and bred in the land of the rising sun. Honor and duty are what make me. Mind you, I can be quite emotional at times too.
We don't need to hear about that, Mr. Kudo. Just tell the court your occupation.
My occupation? Gah! Listen, young, how much call you think there is for kimono embroidery? Keine Ahnung, was der labert.
Yeah.
That's what I do, or did, back in Japan. I embroidered family crests on kimonos. My ancestors were embroidering kimonos where before this country even existed.
Wow, a real craftsman. They're a dying breed. Hey, maybe you could embroider my costume sometime.
Anyway, like I said, there's not much demand for that kind of thing here. So I had to take a job working the cash register at a burger joint, pretending to smile.
purgatory, it would have been better off putting him in the kitchen.
Now then, witness, were you in the restaurant at the time of the incident?
Oh, yes, I was eating some seeds over a cup of cappuccino.
Seeds?
What do you think these are,
I see. So, you saw everything that happened, Gramps?
Did I? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I did. I saw it all.
Then please, tell the court. We're all ears.
Sure. I'll tell you. I'll tell you every last detail.
Certainly getting into this. What I witnessed.
The young man was reading the sports paper. The servant girl brought him a cappuccino, but she put something in it.
Moment. Ist das Maggie? Sieht irgendwie anders aus.
But she put something in it. The man took one sip of it, looked like he was in terrible pain, and then collapsed. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well.
Ja, wahrscheinlich.
Mr. Kudo, she's not a serving girl. Please refer to her as a waitress.
Gah! You're as bad as the rest of them. All these newfangled words. What's wrong with old-fashioned ones,
Newfangled?
All this talk of radios and glasses, wireless and spectacles, I tell you.
Excuse me.
Listen to me, everyone. Don't forget your values. Don't let the good old days slip away.
Well, I think it's time to begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, what I witnessed. Wahrscheinlich mal wieder hier, wahrscheinlich mal wieder, wie so in jedem Fall, dass man irgendwen gesehen hat, aber der das gar nicht war. Hatte sie zufälligerweise ein Steel Samurai Kostüm an? You said, I remember her well in reference to the waitress. Did she have any particular features that you can identify her by?
Particular features? It's a disgrace. That's what it is.
Sorry?
You can see all the way up to her, you know. She's practically naked in that uniform.
So the particular feature you recognize about a waitress is her outfit? But anyone could wear just such an uniform, even we.
Mr. Wright, please spare the court of any further mental anguish from that image.
Don't get all excited, Nick. You've got to keep yourself together. I guess I got a bit carried away.
Gah! There are other things I recognize about her too.
He seems pretty sure of himself. What should I do? Yeah, press harder. Sure, you saw a waitress take the coffee over to the victim. But what matters is whether that waitress was Maggie Bird or not.
Quite right. Mr. Kudo, these other features that you recognize about the defendant. I would ask you to add them to your testimony.
Sure. There was a ribbon in her hair, and her apron's straps were loose.
Oh,
do you think all CD really saw Maggie do it?
Well, he probably had his eye on the waitress the whole time. That's why he was there.
But he was there for the cute outfits, right? Not the waitress.
I guess. She makes a good point, though.
Hey, did I just say something clever?
I wonder if the waitress Mr. Kudo saw really was Maggie. Yeah, I already got that drift. So, dann geh nochmal zurück, bitte. Und pressen. You do seem to remember several details about her appearance, but what about the most crucial detail of all, her face?
As if I wouldn't remember that.
The witness noticed the straps on the accused's apron. He's unlikely to make a mistake about her face.
That's right, I can't even tell you the color of the ribbon in her hair. It was red.
So, you see, there's nothing wrong with the witness's eyesight.
I'm not talking about the eyesight. There's no doubt he remembers the waitress pretty well. What should I do?
I get the feeling there's something more to this somehow. Ask about the straps, ask about the waitress's back. I don't know. Mal das. The identifying features you described are all things you would see from the back.
So what?
Is it possible that you never saw the waitress from the front at all?
He's got you there, Gramps.
People normally talk about facial features when they're asked to describe someone. But this witness's testimony is nothing but straps and ribbons.
This is harassment. I tell you, I'm not obsessed with straps or ribbons. I'm just telling you what I saw.
Mr. Kudo, the court requests that you add details about any identifying features. Features you observe from the front, that is, to your testimony.
Sure.
This old man's testimony is getting longer and longer. And if I can't find a hole in it soon, it'll get even longer, I bet.
There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front.
You didn't find anything to be distinct, but you did clearly see the witness's face, yes?
No question about it. I didn't come this far to back down now. Mr. Kudo never backs down.
That's not the answer I was looking for, but okay. This has turned into a matter of pride for old CD now, I guess. I wonder if he really did see Maggie's face or not. Like I thought, we need some concrete proof of this. Proof that the old guy didn't see the waitress clearly from the front. Do you think old CD really saw Maggie do it? Oh no, das hatten wir schon. I think I know. Nein! Hä? Bin ich jetzt schon wieder... Moment, also nochmal hier, ne? There was ribbon, we're loose. There wasn't anything... Ja, genau. From the front. So, weil... Da sollte ja... ein richtig krasser roter Fleck drauf gewesen sein. Der Kaffee war wahrscheinlich danach, aber der rote Fleck müsste ja schon da sein. Yes, baby. Mr. Kudo, I would like you to please take a look at this.
Gah, that 50 thing would suit feels like you just perfectly. Actually, it reminds me of what my grandson looks like just after he's done eating.
Have you ever seen this before?
Of course I haven't. Do you think I forget something as sturdy as that, hmm? Well, you have with a cloth? What is it? Ever since I said you have with cloth, there's been an eerie silence in here.
Mr. Kudo, this apron is the apron worn by the defendant on the day of the poisoning. And as you just said yourself, you would forget something like this. Which means if you have really seen this apron before. Yes, you know what I'm getting at. You couldn't have possibly seen the waitress from the front.
Oops.
Witness, you can't just oops your way out of this.
Well. Looks like we finally have a genuine trial on our hands. Listen, try it. Here are the facts. On the day of the incident, there was only one waitress in the restaurant.
That being the defendant, Miss Maggie Bird.
Exactly. And when that one waitress put the poison into the coffee cup, this old guy was watching.
I hope you understand the gravity of the situation, Mr. Kudo. The fate of the defendant may rest on what you say you remember seeing.
Just tell the court exactly what you saw, Gramps.
You can rely on me, Captain. My noggin's in perfect working order. I can't remember a single occasion where I forgot what burger a customer wanted.
He can't remember? Probably more like he messed up so many times he's blocking it out. Very well. Let's test just how good your memory and attention to details is, Mr. Kudo. Tell us what you remember about the victim.
Okay. About the victim.
He was another of those pesky young types wearing a broken pair of spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. Then the servant girl in question brought over the Chavachino. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip.
The testimony we have just heard was to test how credible the witness's memory is. It seems to me that he remembers the victim in a great deal of detail.
Oh, yes, I hate those you-know-what types who are so vague about everything.
How are we going to handle this, Nick?
You only need to do one thing. Just need to prove that the old man's memory is shot.
Just trip him up, you mean? Isn't that kind of cruel?
I suppose, but it's what I do best. Okay. Wearing a broken pair of spectacles. Ja, das... Okay. Maybe... Ja, ich presse es trotzdem mal. Spectacles?
There are glasses to you. One of those lenses was green, but the other one was broken. Newfangled rubbish, that's what I remember him so well.
He did have some kind of lens over his left eye, but I wouldn't have called it a pair of glasses.
Seems to have been wearing some rather modern-looking shades. Perhaps I should take to wearing some and rival Mr. Godot's sharp appearance. We better come up with something sharp and quick.
Guess I'll wait and see if I should challenge him about the spectacles. Newspaper in his right hand. Ja, ich presse einfach alles. Komm. The newspaper was a sports paper, was it?
That young hooligan, I nearly asked him, can't you even read without fidgeting, How was I supposed to be able to read the back page with all that rustling going on? I need to find out if Guston Braun retained his championship title.
It was his paper, not yours. If you wanted to know so bad, why didn't you buy your own?
What are you looking at me like that for, Oh, ow!
Guston Braun got beaten yesterday, by the way, anyway.
The young man's listening to the wireless. The wireless?
The decadent young rascal. In my day was one or the other. Read the paper or listen to the wireless.
Oh boy.
Using an earpiece, it's selfish. That's what it is. I was straining my ears, but I couldn't catch any of it.
Was he that desperate to listen to the radio?
What are you looking at me like that for? How dare you? Ow, ow.
Okay. You mean the waitress who you only saw from behind, right?
You're one of those, are you? You never let anything go. Isn't that right?
Maybe.
What does it matter if I saw it from the front or from behind? My eyes don't lie.
I better not push it until I've got some hard evidence. Okay, I need hard evidence. Picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. His free hand?
Yes.
Which hand was that?
Weren't you listening before, cloth ears? I said you was rustling the newspaper with his right hand, didn't I? If his free hand wasn't his right hand, then which hand was it? Ow!
Okay, his left hand.
Perhaps the great Mr. Wright has free hands.
Yeesh. I was only asking, no need to gang up on me and treat me like a freak. The whole point of this cross-examination is to establish just one thing. That this old guy's memory has more holes than a slice of Swiss.
I guess we just need to find a contradiction in his testimony somewhere, huh?
Anything will do, even the smallest detail. We just need one mistake and he's ours. So, his left hand. Das war sehr speziell. Gucken wir uns am besten mal das Foto an. Nein! Ich habe den falschen Knopf gedrückt. Ja, nee, sorry, du, ich Ich wollte es mir eigentlich angucken und nicht. Aber gut, wir wissen zumindest schon mal, dass es das nicht ist. Oder war ich überhaupt nicht? Ich war. Nein! Egal. Jetzt nicht X drücken, bitte. Sondern A, genau. Also hier. Hier sehen wir eigentlich nichts, ne? Nee. Was haben wir sonst noch so? Der Coffee Cup. Mit dem Dingensabdruck. Lottery Ticket. Nee. Das hat ja alles nichts mit der Hand zu tun. Also die Hand war schon sehr speziell. Das muss ja irgendwas bedeuten, dass wir da was pressen müssen. Sports Paper. Hat das was? Ist auf der linken Seite. Also vielleicht. Ja, wobei. I don't know. Gucken wir das nochmal an. Ja, ihr könnt es halt wirklich mit jeder Hand gehalten haben. Da sehen wir, glaube ich, wirklich nichts, oder? Coffee contained potassium cyanide covered in the victim's Maggie's fingerprints. Aber ist es das? Ich weiß ja nicht, ob wir diesem Profilbildchen da, ob wir das als Beweis nehmen können? Weil man sieht ja den Mundabdruck und der Henkel ist rechts davon. Das heißt, er hätte das mit der rechten Hand aufgenommen, oder? Können wir das zeigen? Ich glaube, wir haben noch nie etwas presented aufgrund von dem Profilbildchen da. Glaube ich, oder? Ja, wir gucken einfach mal. Wir haben noch genug Leben. With his free hand and took a sip. Aber hier steht halt nicht linke Hand, ne, sondern nur his free hand. Ich mach's trotzdem mal. Okay, war richtig. Mr. Kudo, do you remember what you were told at the start of this testimony? That this was a way of testing your credibility of your memory.
I know. There's nothing wrong with my memory. I tell you, nothing. If I got anything wrong, I'll eat these seeds and sing the pigeon song.
Care to tell us where this is going, Wright?
According to Mr. Kudo, the victim was holding the paper in his right hand, while drinking the coffee with his free hand, which would make that his left.
Cap, what is this, kindergarten?
But I would like the court to please take a look at this.
That's the cup the victim used, correct?
Yes, and on the rim you'll notice the mark left by the victim's lips.
Yes, there is a stain left by the coffee.
If you consider where that stain is, you'll clearly see that the victim was holding the cup in his right hand.
But how?
Well, Mr. Kudo, the court is waiting for your epic performance. You said you'd eat those seeds and sing the pigeon song.
Ah!
Mr. Kudo, I'm afraid this is simply not acceptable. I think the witness had better go back to the park.
Wait! If I think I'm going to stand here and listen to you tell me I'm mad, you're wrong. I don't care about that dirty coffee cup, I know what I saw.
You still insist on your testimony?
That young boy was holding the cup in his left hand. Oh yes, no question, I'm a good law-abiding citizen, I am. Is that young hotbod and you spiky-haired yahoo, who are at fault?
Who, me?
Thank you, old man. We've heard quite enough from you already.
Don't call me old man, old man. Been around for 68 years, I have. You can't ignore me. Listen to what I've got to say.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but... Sure, why not hear a little more? Mr. Kudo? But this is my 16th cup of coffee, so this is your final stand.
Thank you, Captain. You can rely on Victor.
Left hand or right hand?
The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. He kept fiddling with it all the time. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup too. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup with his left hand.
Ich glaube, ich habe irgendwas falsch vorgelesen. Egal. We know that the victim was wearing an unusual monocle over his left eye. It wasn't a monocle, Your Honor. It was a small computer monitor of newspaper programmers. A monitor? You mean like a television screen? The inside of the lens is a screen that displays computer data. It's called an HMD. It's a common tool in the victim's line of work.
HD TV, DVD, CD, all these newfangled letters drive me mad, but they don't matter. I know what I saw, and I'm telling the truth.
It's true, he doesn't seem to be lying.
And those are the facts, in good old black and white.
Okay. Gucken wir doch mal. Same side as the green lens of his specs. Ja, das ist richtig, glaube ich. So the victim was wearing an HMD.
What does it matter?
Well, it's none of them actually, but anyway. And you're sure that he was wearing the earpiece on the same side?
No question, I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious if you look at the floor plans. Ah, ist direkt gegenüber gesessen. From the opposite table, he'd only have a view of the side of the victim's head. He kept fiddling with it all the time. It seems you kept an eye on Mr. Glenelg.
He was getting on my nerves. Rustling that newspaper and fiddling with his earpiece all the time. Then he went and made all that fuss, dying from one sip of Chericino. I wanted to say to him, calm down, you young brat. Just looking at him made me suddenly speed up my seed eating. I could have choked.
So I take it the victim was a walking ball of nervous energy. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup too. The earpiece you mentioned, which hand did the victim touch it with?
You're one of those people, aren't you? You're the type that use your left hand to get things out of your right pocket. Or fastens your left calf with your right hand. When the tour guide says, on your right side you'll see the famous blah blah, you're the only one who deliberately looks left. Well, aren't you?
No, I didn't mean...
Obviously he used the hand on the same side of his body that the earpiece was in. Ow, ow!
So if he had the HMD on his left side, then it was his left hand, I guess. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup. His left hand. You seem very sure of yourself, Mr. Kudo.
That's because I know what I saw, no matter what tricks you try to play on me.
It looks like he really did see the guy picking the cup up with his left hand. This is a dead end. Well, Nick, what do you think? I think the guy's telling the truth. But even so, something's not quite right. Then chuck evidence at him until he breaks. But if he's not lying, there wouldn't be any contradictions in his testimony, right? Also ich will mir nochmal kurz... Also er trägt es halt wirklich auf seiner linken Seite, ne? Genau. Gut, dann
gucken wir uns mal hier noch ein bisschen um. Ich möchte nochmal die Floorplans hier nochmal. So. So, ne? Da sieht er, ja, seine linke Seite. Haben wir sonst noch irgendwas? Ah, warte. Steht hier irgendwas? Nee. Warte, ich will die Ohrmedizin. The bag is empty. Sehen wir nicht, welches Ohr er da eingeschmiert hat? Crime Photo. Sehen wir hier irgendwas? Eigentlich nicht, ne? Kept feeling with it all the time. Ja. Also es klingt halt so. Pick up the car with his left hand. Ich bin gerade ein bisschen ratlos. Also Phoenix meint ja, er erzählt die Wahrheit. Es klingt so, als ob er irgendwie einfach die rechte und linke Seite aus irgendeinem Grund vertauscht hat. Also er hat eindeutig die Tasse mit der rechten Hand aufgenommen. Das ist Fakt. Das heißt, aus irgendeinem Grund hatte er dann... Aber er hat die... Und das Earpiece war auf derselben Seite. Sagt er. Das heißt, es müsste dann auf der rechten Seite sein. Aber es ist ja eindeutig auf der linken Seite. Ja, wo ein HMD over left eye. Ah, hier. Left eardrum was ruptured. Okay, da steht's. Huh. I don't get it. I was feeling with it just before he picked up the cup too. His left hand. I don't know. Ich bin gerade echt ratlos. Mir fällt gerade echt nichts ein. Also wirklich. Gar nichts. Das hat ja alles nichts damit zu tun. Victim's handwriting. Ich weiß nicht, ob uns das irgendwas sagt. Aber wahrscheinlich nicht, ne? Also ich glaube nicht. Okay, also welches wäre denn das Statement, das am fischigsten ist? He was feeling before he picked up the cup, kept feeling with it all the time. Wearing earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. Und ich presse nochmal. On the opposite table, he'd only have view of the side of the victim's head. Also er hat die rechte Seite also auch gar nicht gesehen, ne? Ich drücke nochmal alles, vielleicht ergibt sich irgendwas Neues. He used the hand on the same side of his body that the earpiece was in, also his left. It was his left hand, I guess. I don't get it. Ich bin zu dumm, glaube ich. Also wir pressen das nochmal. Einfach damit wir alles zweimal gepresst haben. Ja, also am fischigsten entweder das oder das letzte. Ich würde sagen das letzte. Dann präsent mir einfach random Shit. Ich würde gerne mal das Profil ausprobieren. Einfach weil wir hier noch eine neue Info gekriegt haben. Left eardrum was ruptured. Okay. Apparently I'm a god. Wusste ich. I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but... Mr. Kudo, there is something very strange about your observations of the victim.
What?
Jetzt bin ich gespannt. You say he was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the HMD.
No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting.
I don't think so.
What did you say?
You're no doubt unaware of this fact, Mr. Kudo, but the victim couldn't hear if... Oh! Ja, klar. Oh, da bin ich überhaupt nicht drauf gekommen. But the victim couldn't hear with his left ear. His eardrum was ruptured. Traces of medication for his condition were found in his ear canal. Oh, canal. That's right, it's impossible that the victim was wearing his earpiece on his left ear. Because he couldn't even hear in that ear.
Is that true, Captain?
It is.
Pigeon! Pretty pigeon,
Order! This witness's testimony is completely unreliable. He only saw the waitress from behind, and he claims the victim was wearing an earpiece when we know his eardrum was ruptured. Well, Mr. Godot?
A single drop of milk is all it takes to destroy the pure black magic on the cup. This old man is my drop of milk.
Captain, are you calling me a trip?
This is the victim's coffee cup in which the potassium cyanide was found. The mark on the rim clearly shows that the victim picked it up with his right hand.
I never back down, I know I'm right. The lad drank his Chavachino with his left hand.
Let me put you out of your misery. Clearly the victim used both hands. He took a sip with the cup, held in his right hand, and then switched to his left. That's what the old man saw.
Impossible.
The witness has already testified on numerous occasions that the victim died immediately after taking just one sip of the coffee.
Which hand the victim used to pick up his cup is irrelevant, Your Honor. Facts still stand. With one hand or another, Mr. Alk drank the poisoned coffee. Like this.
Sadly, Mr. Cadeau, that doesn't wash. The point of this testimony was to establish whether the witness's memory is credible. And the results are clear. The testimony given by this witness is useless.
I believe it is time to conclude today's proceedings. I am satisfied that the witness is not deceiving the court. But to be frank, his testimony is a farce.
Did you have to be so frank? Like, take that!
I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo. You can't reach me from there. I'm ordering the defense and the prosecution to investigate this case further. That is all for now. This court is adjourned.
Wait! If we stop now, where does that leave me?
Leave you, Mr. Kudo?
Thanks to that blue-suited young upstart over there. I'm just a bumbling old man who can't even dot his T's or cross his I's now.
How is your bad memory my fault?
I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but there's nothing I could do.
I've kept my mouth shut until now, but there's something else the court should know.
What?
There's more?
To be perfectly honest, it might not be anything. But I want another chance. I want another crack at you, you young shark.
Me? He's looking at me like I'm some sort of evil wie spricht man das aus? Shogun? Keine Ahnung.
Well, everyone, what do you say to one final showdown? The final chapter in this eccentric old man's scrapbook.
Sorry, Gramps. I've already had my 17th cup of coffee.
What have you got to lose, Captain? I'll give you all the cappuccino you want if you come to my house after the trial. I may be 60 years old, but Victor Kudo is still a man.
That's enough, witness. I believe it will be quicker for the court to see your testimony.
You bet. Much, much quicker.
Can't believe this is happening.
You better get ready, youngster.
I get the picture. Just quit throwing those seeds at me, would you? He's gotta be using some sort of infinite ammo code with that box of seeds.
The final showdown.
First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. I'm not too sure of myself. The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his cappuccino. Well, the clumsy did upset the vase. He knocked it right over. It broke and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked.
Aber die Vase ist doch noch intakt, oder? Haben wir gesehen?
Well, how about that? Turning things upside down,
Is that all?
Yes, that's all. I remember it perfectly. You're doubting me again? You're doubting a poor defenseless old man?
No, we are not doubting you, Mr. Kudo.
Can you get the feeling there's a question hanging on everyone's lips, Nick? Yeah, so what? Probably. That's all I can think of, and I have to cross-examine this guy.
You're a bird brain, that's why that's all you can think of.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your final cross-examination, please.
Okay, ich glaube, das ist easy. Upset the vase. Weil wir haben ja, ich guck's mir nochmal kurz an. Ist ja das Crime-Photo und die Vase ist, ja, intakt. Mr. Kudo, this is a photograph of the crime scene.
So what?
Look carefully at the table. The vase is there, intact.
Huh?
Lost your tongue, Granddad.
No granddad of yours, ow.
Enough. If you throw any more seats in this courtroom, the cleaners will be here all night.
Ah!
What is it now?
I just remembered something.
Yes, go on.
The broken vase. Ha! It was on my table.
What?
Well, you see, it startled me when that young lad collapsed, so I stood up. That must have been when it fell over. The vase on my table, I mean.
The vase on your table?
Yes, it was on my table. That's how my groin came to be completely soaked.
Okay. Können wir einfach gehen? Ja, kein Kaffee für dich mehr. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. You've certainly earned your kudos for today.
I'd like to ask a question now. Have I been any use at all?
Perhaps that's something you should reflect on yourself, Mr. Kudo.
Wait a minute. If that's the case, I've got more to say. Oh, yes, I remember something else.
Bailiff, escort the witness out of the courtroom.
Wait, listen to me.
Well, we seem to have been considerably sidetracked. And I'm still not in a position to deliver a verdict. The defendant has not been positively identified as the waitress in question. Additionally, there are 2 disparities in the testimony we have heard thus far. The mark on the coffee cup that the victim supposedly drank from with his left hand, and the earpiece, which was inserted into his left ear, out of which he couldn't hear.
Wow, Nick, you did it.
I therefore require both the defense and the prosecution to further investigate the facts. Yes, Your Honor. There's one more thing before I call today's session to an end. One more thing, Your Honor? The witness we just heard from. He's most insistent that his testimony should be of use. So he summarized it accordingly into his statement. Okay. You may each have a copy of it if you wish. Whatever. Prosecution doesn't need props like that. It was really mad, huh? Yeah, it would be too. Very well. Here we have them, Mr. Wright. There are 3 copies. My own, yours, and Mr. Godot's. Yes, Your Honor. Victor's testimony. When the incident occurred, I broke the vase at my seat. I'm sorry. Oh. I'm sorry. This isn't a piece of testimony, more like a 5-year-old's apology. What the heck are we supposed to do with 3 copies? Also. That is all. This court is adjourned. To be continued. Alrighty. Ja, Mr. Kudo haben wir ein bisschen auseinandergenommen. Phoenix hatte zwar das Gefühl, dass er die Wahrheit sagt. Und ich habe das Gefühl, dass er auch wirklich die Wahrheit sagen wollte. Er hat ja auch am Ende gesagt, ne, war ich nützlich oder so, ja. Und der alte Sack, der ist scheinbar so ein bisschen, ne, mittlerweile so ein bisschen outdated und möchte nicht mehr so nutzlos sein. Von daher, vielleicht ist da noch was dran. Und wir haben die Vase als Evidence bekommen. Wird wahrscheinlich dann vielleicht im nächsten Trial noch wichtig werden. Aber warum auch immer sein Tisch wichtig sein soll, das weiß ich noch nicht so ganz. Naja, mal gucken. Und wir haben den Phony haben wir gar nicht gesehen, ne? Der spielt bestimmt auch noch eine Rolle. Mal gucken, wenn wir nächste Folge alles zu Gesicht bekommen. Ich hoffe, ihr bleibt gespannt. Und bis dahin, macht's gut, Leute. Und tschö.